So now, if everybody will grab that video 7, if you have enterprise, there's an enterprise version, but for the rest of us, it's just this repeat information. The reason the enterprise is in there is because enterprise needs, the name field needs to have lower cases. So that's how that works. I'm going to just download this one so I have a good one. And we're going to start all over. Day 1. There it is. Should say tour of the tabs in Survey123. We're going to go grab that file. So come over here to new survey. And then advanced template is fine. Files. We're going to go grab that one. And it should be in your download unless you put it somewhere else. And then on this one, I'm in the document and I'm just going to grab the file name. And I'm going to add the word repeat in there so that I know what it is. Repeat. And I'm going to change actually, I'm going to make this, the date is February. So that's what we're going to put in there, something like that. And then say create. And I put a note in here because last week we worked through the deliverable tab. And I just wanted to put it through here also, or let you guys know. So Survey123, we have all these tabs at the bottom. And you're going to notice that there's a few repeats in here. Now, what is a repeat? A repeat is that related table. So once we push everything to the cloud, you're going to have these extra tables. And in these tables, if you don't put a geopoint, geoshape, or geotrace inside here, it will just be a table. We found that out because the first one that I built had geopoint in the main one and then nothing in any of the other tables. And we're collecting data, and then we go, it would be really nice to have a location of each of these inspections. But we didn't build it that way. So just know that you should probably put a geo shape of some sort inside your repeats so that you can see them. Unless you really just want a table, then that's fine. But just know that it's okay to put a geo something inside of a repeat. You can only have one because that's your hosted service layer, points, lines, polygons. So you can only have one, and the software will tell you that you should only have one. Otherwise, it'll just pick the first one. We figured that out too. So your repeat, it says, all the family member information. So now, if you come over here and you can put some information in here, your phone number, there's a test one for us. Locate our home, that's your geo shape that we're going to be doing. That's a geopoint right here. Your address, city, state, zip. Remember, zips, since they're not math, we don't math with them, it's a text. And so here you'll notice it's a text. And then you see down here where it's green, I like to make sure that my repeats have a real difference in color, because then they can scroll right to it instead of, kind of figuring out where's that lighter and darker gray. So if you do that, I'm going to show you what that looks like in the service, or in the Survey123. You just scroll all the way out. Keep going. And you see here on Esri styles, there's code there. And that says, what's my background color and what's my border color? And so you can see that there's a little tiny darker green. That's where that green comes from. Now, how did I know what this color was? Right here. This is your hex code. And if you use Chrome and you open up Chrome, and you put a hex code in here, it gives you a color picker. And I love this color picker. And I think at one time I was looking for it in other browsers. I think it only shows up here. But so if you wanted something different, you know, grab it, figure out what you like. I like bright colors because when you're in the sunshine, the darker colors and the black text don't work very well together. So if I wanted it to be yellow, I just take that QR code or X code, and I would come over here, put that in there, and say save. That's why I like giving you a template, because there's so much that you need to learn. If I can give you a template that shows you just enough, then you can get started right away, because you already have code and now you know what the software can do. Just a reminder, I'm not looking at you guys in Teams, so if you have a question, just don't raise your hand. Just say, hey, Michelle, and that'll get my attention. We can go forward. So now what we're doing is we're looking at all of this. Since I changed this to yellow, I should probably, just for my sanity, change this one to yellow. And then you can come down here and you can see I have cool code and it's in its own repeat. I don't know why I would want to do that, but I did it so folks can see that you can have multiple tables that go in here. And then let's see what else we have in here. I have all the
quickly.
Yeah.
Are the colors for the cells that say begin repeat and end repeat and begin group, are those colors locked?
No, I put those in there because I needed to see them. So the way that you can do that is you can come over here to conditional formats, and you can, if you don't like them, just say clear the rules for selected cells and it'll remove them. Good question. I put those in there because before I put the massive colors in there, I just want to see where my begin and end repeats are, because it gets really complicated when you have nested repeats. So that would be like inside this yellow area, you know, maybe I need something in here, and maybe I need a repeat in here. Actually, let's just put this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have 3, so let me insert. I'm going to grab this one just so you can see what that looks like. I'm going to Control X, which is cut, and I'm going to Control V, paste. I'm going to remove these extra spaces, delete, and say save. And you notice how I grabbed everything, all the rows. That's because you don't want to grab like the 4 blocks, or 3 blocks here, and move those because you didn't shift anything on the far side. So just make sure you highlight the numbers over here on the side, and that'll grab everything. And so now that we've saved, now you have yellow, 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 orange right in the middle. And so that's called a nested repeat, and it's totally legal. Just know that it's going to be attached inside of inside your family members.
So are the repeats then different tables? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay. And then can you like auto assign, like let's say family member, like auto assign them an ID?
Yes, you can. So a family member ID, let me write that down because that's a good one to put in here. I have some code for an ID.
Okay. And then is Excel the only format for building the database with? Okay.
Yes, unless you're going to do the browser version. But you can't, this is where you can manipulate everything really well. My husband's a photographer by trade, and so we always laughed at, when he's dialing in his camera, he can go program auto where the computer does everything. That is the browser version. It does everything for you. And then manual on his camera is this. It's you dial everything in by itself. It's really a sweet piece of software. In the future with the next generation, it's going to look like Excel, but it's actually going to be inside the GIS universe. So everything is going to be connected from the get-go. You're going to love it. And I've already played with it, so it looks and feels exactly the same. So there's no learning curve. It's just now once it's all in the same universe, now we can grab all the things that Field Maps is doing, like geofencing and all of that, which we've been waiting for. But I think once everything's in there, I think it's going to be a really beautiful piece of software. All right, so let's see what other code we have in here that we haven't talked about yet. We talked about this last week, which was the how it's going to add the 17 days. We do have some relevance in here. So if the same name is equal to no, let's do that. Is your last name the same as above? Yes, nothing happens. No, oh, we want you to put your new last name in here. So whatever that is, now we have the child's last name. And that happens a lot because I'm a stepchild. I have a different last name than my dad or my mom, my stepmom, and all of that. So this makes it so the child feels included and they don't feel like they got missed. That's how I would have felt had I not had the chance to put my own last name in there. Down here, pet. So if you have a pet, do you have a pet? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Well, since we put that cool code in here, it's way down here at the bottom. But what's your pet's name? And can we take a picture? So that's a lot of fun. Relevance are great. That's going to make sure that it tightens up what people have to do, because if it's not a smart app, people they start hating it. It's like, if I have to answer all these questions that don't make sense to me, you don't want that. You want to have smart surveys. And then if you keep scrolling, there's that null. Earlier today, I was talking about the notes. There are blanks for notes. The newest way of doing this is just don't put anything in that that name section. And then when you publish this, there is no field that goes into ArcGIS Online specifically for notes. Now, I left challenge in here because the legacy version was you could put a name in here, but you had to also do this null version. So that tells the computer that we do not need any data in there and don't put it in the cloud. So I'm going to delete both of those. And now it's going to be clean. When we publish, we won't get that error message. What else do we have out here? We already went through the background colors. Now this query, allow updates false. That means when you're in the inbox, now you may not know what an inbox is yet. Repeats are really fun because what happens is the main survey will always be the main survey, but you have an inbox that you can cycle through once you have live data in the cloud. I'll show you how to do that. But what this is going to do, this allow updates false, is going to, I'm going to double check on that only because I haven't used that one in a long time. Previous users, oh, editing. Okay, so we don't want them to update somebody else's repeated data, but we want them to be able to see it. So if somebody goes in and for this one, since we're doing family members, every year we want the family members to update, their favorite idea, their clothes size and their pictures and things like that. But we don't want them to update anything that was done last year, but we want them to be able to see it. So that's what this is for. It's going to make sure that your end users that are going out for those inspections can see the previous inspections somebody took, but they're not going to be able to change them. All they can do is do their next survey. Now you can say true also, and that will give them the option of going through that going, oh, that was a mistake. I need to change that. But be careful with that because they also may think that they're on the new inspection data and they might change the old one by mistake. So what I like to do is if there's a mistake, I have them email me and say, hey, Michelle, there's a mistake on this record. We need to change that. Then I can change it and there are no mistakes that happen. And I think that's it. Beautiful. So what we're going to do is we are going to publish just like we did in the beginning, because I want to make sure that everything feels good to you going forward. So we're going to come over. Oh, let's do a few extra things on this one. So we have our form down here. We have our details, and you can change the titles as you want. Just know that when you publish something, whatever this title is the first time will be what you see in ArcGIS Online. But the end users will see whatever you update here. So just know that you're not going to see the newest version of whatever that title is in ArcGIS Online. So don't get scared. It's just because you don't want that data changing, but the end users will be able to see this. If we wanted a thumbnail, we can click on that and find a thumbnail somewhere. The last one we did, we put something in the media folder, so I'm just going to grab that one, but you can put whatever you want in here. If you have like Photoshop or Canva or any of those, you can download the little template that they give you, and then you can make your own little thumbnail. I like to use Photoshop just because my husband was a photographer, so I know Photoshop pretty well. And then here, this is your options. So I always say require updates to the latest version. We are going to turn on the inbox because we want to see the data in our inbox, and I'll show you what that looks like. Just know that we want to do that. This where clause is if we only want to see high risk in our inbox, because those are probably the things we need to go do inspections again. That's where you're going to put this information. And then the sent folder. Did you see this big ugly red box here? You cannot have the inbox and the sent box on at the same time. I always turn off the sent box because I don't see a reason for having that. Plus, someday in the future, if you accidentally want to turn on the inbox and your sent box is already on, the data that's in their sent box already will not come back down. It hits that sent record and they can't get back into it. So if you're going to use one or the other, just use the inbox. I always turn off my sent box just because of that one thing. In the future, I may want to put the inbox in. And if that happens, I have to go out and tell all my end users, okay, I need you to remove everything from your sent box because now we're doing something different. It's just an extra mindset that if you just do it right the first time, you won't have to correct it later. Maps. Maps are fun. You might need a specific map for whatever your project is. It gives you the Esri base map right here, but you can come over here to this base map picker and figure out what you want to use. So, you might need to do imagery. There it is. That's lovely. And then media. All of these, they're going to start connecting once you publish. Like this linked content, as soon as you publish, there's going to be things that are going to start populating here, like that map that it made. Scripts, this is for your JSON files. Schema and this one, I don't use any of those, but they're there in case you do need them. Anybody have any questions before we publish?
But you're building your tables in Excel,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're manipulating them in this page. Is that the idea?
They are both the same.
Okay.
They both talk, they handshake with each other.
Okay.
These two here, they're handshaking. So as soon as I change something, if I took this off, or well, hold on a second. Okay, version number, if I remove this and I said go, this is just the GUI. So this is what your end users are going to see. And then this back here, the Excel file, yes, that's how you're gonna build everything and manipulate it. And so down here, as soon as you save it over here, it removes it over here. So I'm gonna put it back in because I like it. And then we are going to publish it. Let's see, make that bigger. Same thing, we're going to start all the way over to the left. We're going to enable the sync. I'm going to analyze. Beautiful. I don't have anything that I need over there. I'm going to publish that. And now we're going back to the day 2, or I'm sorry, video 6, how-to document that we already worked on the first time. Okay, say okay, make that smaller. I'm going to make these smaller. And we're going to open up ArcGIS Online. Okay, I'm going to go into content, and we're going to do the same thing we did earlier. We're just going to do it again so that it solidifies what we need to be doing. I was in a folder, so that's why there's only a few files in here. I'm going to go back to all my content, and you'll notice where we have all of our repeats up here. So the first thing we want to do is go into our feature layer hosted, which is this one. We're going to turn on all the pieces we need to turn on in the settings. So come over to settings. Again, if you decide you want it to be authoritative or deprecated, use those. I like those because now that we're years and years into ArcGIS Online, it's nice to be able to figure out which ones are old and which ones are new. So I started just making sure that we did authoritative to anything that was authoritative. And then in the next 3 or 4 months, we're going to go in and start looking at the ones that don't have authoritative and see if we need to deprecate them. Deletion management, again, turn that on if you don't want somebody to accidentally delete your hosted service. And for us, for me, I'm going to do public data collection, so I'm going to turn that on. Enable editing is on, keeping track of the editing is on, but this one right here is off. So make sure you turn that one on. It'll save your sanity. And then down here, I like that we do not let them delete, but the updates is turned on. Allow true curves. We're not walking anywhere, so I'm just going to turn that one off. All the rest of them are good. And then I like to turn on export data so that in the future, I don't have to do that. And I say save. And then we want to go into those 9 dots. And Survey123 is probably down here somewhere. If you just drag it all the way up to the top. These are like the ones that you're going to use all the time. So click that Survey123. And you'll see we have 2 of them. That's because this is the one we did last week. And then this one here is the one we're going to use. And so here down at the bottom, you have this one is for editing in the browser. But since we did connect, we do not want to use that one. This one here is our collaborate. That's where we're going to get the links for to share with people. This one is analysis, and that's going to tell you if you have 1,500 records, you know, when was the peak hours and some of the data that goes behind that. Then you have your data, and then you have a little star for if it's your favorite one. So we're going to start here with collaborate. And we talked about this earlier, but you have a few different options. Are we just going to use the browser? Are we going to give them the option of the browser or the Survey123 field app? Or do we just want them to use the field app? And I came up with a better idea to tell you how to do this better. The browser version directly is great for public surveys, things that you have a company and you need the public to go out and tell you if there's graffiti or a pothole and things like that. That's where you're going to use that one. This one here open a survey in the browser or field apps. This is great if you're at the Esri conference and you know that they know what they're doing and they know if they already have the app on their phone. This is a good choice. If it's just public people, they may get confused on which one they need to use. So I wouldn't give them the option. And then you have open the survey in the field app directly. That is for, you have a field crew that's going out. They all have their own AGOL accounts. And so you want them to use the field app. For us today, since I'm doing public, I'm just going to use this first one because we want to create at least one record so that we have information that we can play with for the next steps. And so here you're having your copy your URL. That's great if you need to put it on a flyer or on a website. This is the QR code. That's going to make sure that folks can, if you're putting that on a flyer. If you are putting something on a website, a flyer with a QR code, make sure you put the QR code and a link that they can click into, because if they're on their phone, they can't do the QR code while they're using their phone on a flyer. But if you give them the link, at least they have both options. That's something I've learned along the way. Makes people much happier. And then this third one, that's going to open it up in a new tab. And then we're going to say, we go in and put whatever you want in here. Make sure you have your location, whatever that is. Family photo date, that's fine. Is my last name the same as above? Yes or no, whichever one. The grade, so the reason behind this is because my mom and I scrapbook, and we wanted to make sure we could push this out to all of our family members and get all their information. We usually do this after school starts or after school ends, because all of our birthdays, we have like a month of birthdays in August. So if we can get all this information, then we can have from August through Christmas, where they're probably going to have the same shirt size, and they're all these different things that we need to buy gifts for them. That's why this all came up. So, you just put whatever all this information is: snacks, t-shirts, do you have pets, yes or no? And that, remember, we put the cool codes in between. If they do say yes, the pet's name is all the way down here at the bottom. And just a reminder, your code sometimes doesn't work in the browser, so always test your work. Photo of your pet, take a vertical photo of your family member. And I like to tell people exactly what kind of photo I want them to take. Like this one says, hints: flowering bushes or at the park with a lot of colors makes great photos. Don't take a photo with the trash can in the frame. I have a picture my husband took with me. We were at the beach and I was smelling a flower, and it was a great picture, but there was a trash can right behind me. And so I go, I need to tell somebody, make sure and it's just something to keep them focused. For folks that are going out into, like I do fire footprints, and we need to take pictures with some kind of a long-standing monument. Maybe it's a grouping of rocks, or trees are hard because after a fire, a lot of those trees are going to be downed. So you got to make sure to tell them exactly what you want them to do. And then once we're all done, we hit the submit button. And it worked. That's always a good sign. And now we can go back to, I'm going to show you the data inside this Survey123 here. So you see your 9 dots. If you click over to Survey123, and then you're going to go to, I'm going to click on this analyze so that you can see a different flavor of what we did from this morning. So you're going to get all your answers. This is that analyze page, and it's just outside it's everything that comes with the software. So family name, how many do I have? It's also going to give you a number. And then it's going to give you a word cloud, which is a lot of fun. Head of household, how many had this last name, or head of household, how many were here? family phone numbers. For us, this really doesn't make a lot of sense for this survey, but when you start doing your inspections, it'll make more sense. Now that we've seen that, we can go over here to data. Data is better for us. We like data. That's going to be your, this is all the data we've collected so far in the app. And there's a few things that you can do before it's in order to get it so that you can filter it and things like that. But you'll notice there's two tabs. There's your main survey and there's your family members. So right up here, you can see how it says filtered by submittal dates. And you can fix this. There's a couple different places you can go. We've only got one record, so it's not going to make any sense to us. And then filter. We can filter by all the fields. So maybe you needed to know everybody who was in a specific city, and then you can put that in. So the expressions are really easy. You can add an expression afterwards. And I think you can just click and or, and it'll change that really quickly for you. I'm going to delete that for now and close. And then you have reports. So I do a class on feature reports. That's what this is all about. And you can also export things over here. And you can open it in Map Viewer. I've never opened my stuff from this way from Map Viewer. So there you go. And then if you click on a record, you can see what it looks like over here. And you can just kind of go through it. It'll show you pictures if you have pictures in there. And when you want to filter and things like that, sometimes this gets really heavy, so I just turn it off. Form view, just turn that off, and it removes it from the side panel. And then you can just, do your filters and reports and all of that. All right, I think that's it. We've done all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that into ArcGIS Pro. Now this is the one we did this morning. I'm going to close some of these. We can put it right on top of this one. I close this one too. Okay, everything is clean. So we can come to Portal. And we can put today's date, and that should give us 2026. Actually, it might give us exactly what we need. There you go. So we have the one with the repeats. And earlier I showed you that you can right mouse click this one and add to current map. And that's going to put the whole folder here. So there's the folder, and then there's the two pieces that are inside. And again, I don't have cool codes in here, so maybe I broke something. I'm going to just go double check. Oh, it was a beginning group. It wasn't a repeat. That's why. Okay. So what happened was I was thinking it was a repeat, but it's a group. So it's not seeing it as a separate table. It's just the same table. Good to know. All right. So it was me. So yes, you can pull that whole folder in, and then you'll have all your pieces. And if you want to, you can see how there's a point, and then there's the table, because we didn't have a geo anything, a geo shape inside the family member. So that's your table. And so if you hit Control and double click that table, the first, the one that says repeat, you're going to get all of the repeat, and then you can come back over, hit Control and double click, and you're going to get that second one. And so you can come in here and you can look at it and see what happens. And I'm going to come back over to Teams. How do we feel about that? So we have 30 minutes. How about, let me do one thing. I'm going to get the code for, we're going to add a field. We're going to do all of that, but we're going to add a field and have that the ID, because I think it was Britt that wanted, how do I add an ID? So let's do that. I'm gonna go grab my code real quick. I have a toolbox of all the code for the last 8 years that I've used. And so I like going in there and I just grab it. All right. Now this is a bonus question. So this is really difficult. So what I want to do is I want to show you how we do it. And what I figured out when we had to do this. So when you have a unique ID number, we wanted to pull the unique ID number that we created in the main survey. We wanted to pull that into the related table. When you pull a live piece of code from the main survey into a repeat, it might change. So we figured out, and it did change. So we figured out how to fix that. We flattened it. So you don't want to pull something live into a repeat. You want to pull something that's flattened. So let me show you what that means. So right here we have the project number. I just auto-populated it with the word fire. Project name was trans, and because we were doing transmission lines, and then contractors that I put myself. And if there was a laydown yard, because this is a fire footprint that we're going out and we're doing all this information. And if there was a laydown yard, we needed the unique ID to be different. So right now it's pulling fire, Jedi, and these last 5 digits. And you can see how I formatted it: fire, electric line, name, and unique identifier. Well, we didn't, you know how the unique identifier has like 12 or 16 letters and numbers? It's just a big, huge unique, it's that big long number. Well, we only wanted like 5 digits of that. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I said read only, and I said yes to the unique ID. Then for defaults, we put some default information in there. And then we had a piece of code. And so the code is if the string length means it has to have a specific amount of information. Oh, here it is. If the laydown yard, if it was greater than 0, then we just needed the fire and what the laydown yard's name was. Then if it wasn't that, then we need to concatenate the fire, the electric line, and the unique ID one time. And we wanted it to be 5 characters long. Now that's a little complicated, but it does the work. So let me show you again now that you've seen that. So we have fire, trans, and Jedi, fire. And it's so fire and electric line. Okay, so looks like my hint is a little different, so we'll have to fix that. But and then the unique ID way back here. Now, if I put in a laydown yard, Rhodesfield, I don't know, whatever that looks like, then we only want to see the project name, which is fire, and then the name of the laydown yard. So what I'm going to do is, does this make sense with your backgrounds? Does this make sense how I got here? Or is it a little overwhelming? Okay, a little. I can make it, let me make it a little less cumbersome. How about, Britt, since this is something you want to do, what would your code look like? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, so my survey is going to be ideally, well, for my MIP, it's going to be about like tree planting. So
Okay.
it would, and I'm having like Girl Scouts plant trees with business partners. So it might be like
that.
the Girl Scout, if this were a planting table, it might be like the Girl Scout troop number that planted it, their business partner, and then maybe the tree type, although that could be repeated. So I'm like, what would my unique ID be? I don't know.
So probably you would, when you do your tree plantings, are they going to have like a little something that's wrapped around them to identify what their number is or something?
Yeah, that would probably be good.
Okay, so they have those little bands, and one has a hole in it and one has like a finger, and it's just it's a band.
Yeah, I used to work for the Wildlands Conservancy, and whenever we did plantings, you would stake it with a rod, and on that rod, you would ID that specific plant. That way, you can monitor it over time. And so, by putting the IDs on specific plantings, you can still track those, and that can serve as your unique ID.
Get 100 pre-designed QR codes, and then you just wrap those around one of the branches. And then when they do their survey, they can scan the QR code to that planting, and it would have a location. So we're thinking, instead of fire, troop number,
Mm-hmm.
and then business partner. Partner, and then some kind of, maybe the barcode number. Something. And then we don't need a lay down yard. I'm going to leave it in there just for now, but I'm going to show you what I just did. I left the names exactly the same. Let's see here. Did I save? So now the troop number is whatever that number is. The business partner is, I don't know, cookies. I don't know. And then the barcode, you could put code. There you go. See if I have a barcode in here. I do. I have a barcode, and that's going to be the barcode scanner. I'm going to say save. So now we have a barcode number. Right now it says Jedi, so I probably should take that out. Save.
Is there a way for each entry it just randomly assigns an ID number that's unique?
There is. Now, depending on how you want to do that, if you don't want to tag the trees while they're doing the surveys, it can give those last 5 digits of the unique identifier. That's how this is working out.
Okay.
So, you have your troop number, you have your cookie people, and then you have your barcode, whatever that looks like. And then you hit enter, and there's a lot of numbers in there. Okay, so you have your troop number for this one, and then you have your barcode, and we don't have anything back here. So I need to fix this just so that you can see what's actually happening here. So auto-populate is going to be troop number. The 6, that's the barcode. And unique identifier. But we do need to add and let's do okay, so we need to add the business partner in here. I'm not going to do all of this for you, so I'm going to give you the code. I'm going to let you figure out how to get this code because I've given you almost everything you need. We're pretty close, but you do need to add a little bit of information here to calculation because now you want that business partner in here. So just follow the code, and what I would do is I would copy this one somewhere else. So you have a good one. I would actually copy this in here somewhere. Because just for a reminder for last week, the computer only reads this top line. So if you want to save the code, then you can come back in here and play with it without messing it up. Anything that's after concatenate, all of this part here is what you're going to be playing with. Leave the laydown yard in case you ever need it. no, it's not going to, you can even hide it here. But if you ever need it, it's a really sweet piece of code. And then here, you're looking at this information here, and you can change that, but just make sure as soon as you change fire here, you want to make sure to change it here. And then you're going to try and add that business partner in here and see how it works. So you see here at this part right here, this once, and that it says UUID with the brackets. That's that whole big long unique identifier number, but we're only taking the last 5 digits. So that's where that's coming from. That's giving you that unique identifier. We put 5 because most likely it's not going to duplicate. So we left it with the last 5. And then what we did is we flattened it. And the reason for the flattening is if you want to pull that into a repeat, you want to pull the flat version into the repeat. You don't want to pull the live version, which is this one here, because those last 5 digits, when they go into a repeat, they're going to match the first day, but they're not going to match anymore. So if you're going back and you're doing surveys on that one tree over and over and over the lifespan, you want to make sure that you have that unique ID is the same going forward.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day.
You too. Bye-bye.